First Citizens' purchase of Silicon Valley Bank capping 2 weeks of turmoil in the banking sector. But shares of some of the most battered lenders are rallying in pre-market trading. First Republic leading the move higher amid word that more support for banks could already be in the pipeline. Bloomberg reporting, quote, U.S. authorities are considering expanding an emergency lending facility for banks in ways that would give First Republic Bank more time to shore up its balance sheet. Team coverage starts right now. Bloomberg's Anne-Marie Hardern alongside Kayleigh Linesdown in D.C. Kayleigh, I want to start with you. What's the latest?
Well, of course, you had the news about, or the reports at least, that the U.S. government is looking for ways that it could help shore up First Republic, help that bank to survive. We also finally got the news that the FDIC found a bidder for the failed Silicon Valley Bank after a number of weeks. First Citizens agreeing to take all of those $72 billion in assets at a discount of $16.5 billion, which is why we are seeing in pre-market trading, of course, we're showing the Friday moves here on the board, but in pre-market trading right now, First Citizens is up 53%, while First Republic is up by 30%. And you have other regional banks like PacWest and Western Alliance higher as well. Of course, these moves only go so far to undo the damage we have seen over the course of the last several weeks. The regional banks, as a Spider ETF, is down by about 28% over the last 3 weeks, even more than that over the last year. It is underperforming the broader financials because, of course, it is these regional banks that we were concerned about deposit flight and whether or not they could remain healthy and solvent. And, of course, we saw evidence of that deposit flight in data out on Friday. Granted, it was only data on deposits through March 15th, which was, of course, the week of the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. We saw a record weekly drop in deposits for smaller banks of $120 billion. That's about 2% of the deposit base. So the question now, Lisa, becomes, has enough been done to stop the bleeding? Which is the question that brings us to Anne-Marie.
Anne-Marie, are there discussions ongoing about deposit insurance, about other measures to shore up the system, or is crisis over? Let's move on.
Well, certainly it's not crisis over, right? And our reporting over the weekend is that officials are keeping a very close eye on First Republic to the point where they may start to amend this lending facility at the Fed so they could shore up the bank. But they are not concerned about the severe flight we saw in deposits of Silicon Valley Bank, which, of course, the FDIC had to step in there. But they are still looking at potentially what can be done with First Republic. And this is one option that they are weighing, Lisa. We should note there has been no decisions. There's going to be a ton of hearings, though, today. So this is not, this week. So this is not going away in terms of lawmakers wanting to look at with the regulators on what went wrong. But we should also look at what Secretary Yellen said last week. She made it pretty clear that if warranted, regulators and the U.S. government will step in.